Do you want to learn how to build this working gun turret in Minecraft Bedrock? Let's begin. First, let me show you the actual gun turret. You'll see that the gun consists of a small redstone loop. I'm doing this by having 2 redstone torches on the sides with some redstone dust here and a lever. Without the lever, the redstone loop would just continuously run. The lever allows us to activate, deactivate. Right in front of the redstone torches and where the redstone dust runs to, we have 2 dispensers. These dispensers are filled with fire charges. You'll notice that I do have these 2 buttons on either side of where you would be operating the turret. These are actually what will allow you to turn. These work because they have 1 single command block each underneath them. But before I show you these command blocks, I need you to type a few commands into the chat bar first. Okay, so in order to get a command block, we're going to do give @s command _ block. I already have one in my inventory. I also have a structure block. In order to get a structure block, which you're going to need, we're going to do give @s structure _ block. Very similar to the command block. We're also going to need to do one more. We're going to do scoreboard objectives add turn dummy turn. Now, I already have the objective created, but you're going to go ahead and hit enter on this. And what this is going to do is it's going to create a score that we're going to keep track of called turn. All right, so now that we have the score set up called turn, we're going to go ahead and take a look inside of these. Right away, you'll notice that we are using another scoreboard command. What this command does is this is going to reduce that score that we created called turn by 1. And this one on the other side is going to take that same score that we created turn, but it's going to add 1. So if you click on the button on the left, it's going to reduce the score by 1. And if you click on the button on the right, it's going to increase the score by 1. This here is the structure block that I had you use the commands to get. Once you get this fully built, you're going to want to go ahead and place one of those down in the position where you're going to stand when you operate the machine gun. Now for mine, I just used smooth stone blocks and slabs. You'll see. And then down here for the border, I always use just yellow and black concrete. You can do whatever you want for how it looks, but if you want it to look like mine, this is all it is. It's just some blocks, some slabs, nothing fancy, nothing crazy. All right, so back to the structure block. Once you get it all built, you're going to put this right here where you're going to be standing when you're operating the gun. Right away, yours will spawn with what's called a bounding box. This is going to be a visible box. Yours will not be around this, okay? Your gun will not have the box around it right away. You're going to have to adjust that. When you go back inside, you'll see here that I actually have numbers that are put in that are very different from yours. If you are building the same gun as me, you can actually go ahead and copy these. But what this does is this adjusts the y-axis from where the block is. In this case, it's 5, but I have it set as -1. So it starts 1 block below, and it's going to be 5 blocks tall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the X is 6. So if I turn it this way, and I have that to a -1, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My Z is 5. It's set to -2. So I got to start 2 away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These numbers just show how many blocks wide it is. And this is the offset. How far away from the structure block do you want to take that away? Normally, I would place the structure block on the outside of this, but by placing it in the middle, it's going to help us in a little bit when we have to rotate this around. Now, before you save it, you can turn that bounding box off so it's not there. But I always save mine to disk. You have the option memory or disk. I believe disk allows you to use your builds in other maps. So that's always the one that I prefer to use. And you're going to want to name that gun. And then you go ahead and save that. All right, that is basically the entire gun. The next part is what I call the brain center. This controls everything. Right away, you're going to see that I have 4 lines of command blocks. Starting off, I want you to ignore these 2 and beyond. We're just going to be looking at these ones here. So, this first one here, as you go in, it is another scoreboard command, but you'll see this one here is going to test the value of turn. That's the score that we made. This one's going to check to see if it's between 1 and 1. Right now, it's set to 1. So you'll see that this is powering the comparator, the repeater, and then the redstone dust above these command blocks. So let's take a look and see what's in these command blocks. So the first one we have is a fill command. Now the coordinates that you see here are the coordinates for the area around the gun. And I did go a little bit wider around, so that as it rotates, because it's not a perfect square, it'll make sure to encompass all the blocks above ground. That is going to replace them with air, essentially wiping the ground completely clean. The next one is a structure load command. Now this, you'll see here, I'm using coordinate 24, -61, 0. What you'll notice is that's actually this point down here. Structure blocks are always located off of one corner. So as you rotate these around, as you spawn them in, you're going to have to play with the exact block. You might have to increase or decrease the X value or the Y value by a couple blocks to make sure that it always appears in the same place. So for example, you notice when I do mine, you are always standing on this block. This block stays in the exact same place when it rotates. Another thing is that this command block is delayed by 1 tick. All right, then the third one is a teleport command. This is going to teleport you specifically onto that block, and it's going to change the direction you're facing. So you're going to have to get 2 sets of coordinates for this. The first one, which is the first set of the command, is just for the spot where you want to teleport to. But the next one is a block that you're going to be facing. Now, I typically recommend about 6 blocks away, but you're going to, like, for example, stand right here and get your coordinates. This is where I want to face when I teleport in. So I would grab coordinates over here, and I would use those in the command. So you'll see while I teleport to 25, -59, 2, I'm facing 30, which is a higher X value. So I'm going to be facing towards the positive X value. And then for the teleport command blocks, we're going to make sure that we delay those 2 ticks. Now, if you're ever testing the position of where you want to spawn this in, for example, let's say I want to try to make an adjustment. I don't want to spawn in at 24, I want to spawn in at 25. All you have to do is replace your redstone dust down like this, and watch. It's going to reignite all the commands, only now you'll see that I have this extra row of blocks here. This whole build got moved further 1 block this way. Well, I don't want that, so I need to go fix it. I'm going to break these. I'm going to come into here. And then I'm going to put this back to 24. The only 2 coordinates you're going to actually adjust will be your X value and your Z value. For me right now, that X value is this way, and the Z value is this way. So now if I put this back here and here, it's going to teleport me again. It's going to break this down and reposition it, so now it's back in the correct spot. I did have to do that a couple times each, just until I got the positioning done. So if we move on to the next line, you'll see another scoreboard command that is testing, but this one's going to check to see if turn equals 2, if it's greater than 2 and less than 2. If the value was 2, you would see that this would be powered up. So if I come over and I press this, It has changed it to 2, and now this line is powered. This is all going to be very similar to the first one. This is the exact same fill command. This is always going to be the same because I gave it extra room to encompass all the directions the build would turn so that I could just copy the same command. I did it like that so that it would be easier on myself. You'll see here it's the structure load command, but the coordinates are different. The last one was at 24 and I think at 0. So you'll see that those are a little bit different. And this one says 90 degrees. This is how I turned that structure to face this way. I just rotated it 90 degrees. Again, you'll probably have to adjust that to make sure that this block is always in the same position. That's the ultimate goal. And then, of course, the next one is the teleport command. We're going to have to get new coordinates for this. The same position, if your block is in the same spot, you should be able to use the same coordinate here for your teleport. But your facing position is going to be different. You'll see now I'm back to 25 on my X instead of 30. But instead of it being around 2, it's now 10. I moved it out further in this direction. Boom. In the direction that I want to face. All right, we're going to put our redstone back down. Of course, it teleports me there again. All right, and now we're going to go ahead and switch this over to 3 so that we can take a look at our third line. As you guessed, the scoreboard test command that we're going to run this time is going to check if it's between 3 and 3. Once more, it's the exact same fill command. Then we're going to look at our structure load. Now this one is going to rotate it 180 degrees. And you'll see the values on this one are actually, we're back to 0 here, but now we're on 21. So just to show you again that those numbers are always going to just vary slightly on your X and on your Z axis. This one is turned 180 degrees because it is now facing us. 180 degrees is a half circle turn. And then the last one here is the teleport command. Now again, if the block that you stand on doesn't move, you can use the same coordinate. So that's why I line mine up like that. And then the coordinates that I'm facing, 10, negative 59, 2. That is actually like right here. So it's just another block a little bit out forward that it's facing. This one's a little bit further out than I normally would do it. But it works in this situation. Just make sure it's not too far away. All right, and then switching over to the last position. This one would be facing left of the original position. We're going to come over here. And guess what? We're going to have a scoreboard command that is testing if turn is between 4 and 4. Same fill commands. Your structure load command here is going to be 270 degrees. And then you'll see that the positions again are a little bit off. I got 23 and negative 2. And just a reminder that the structure load commands are going to be delayed 1 tick. All right, the teleport command, again, same spot I'm teleporting to because I keep that block in the same position. And then this one is just a block out this way where I want to face. And that's all it is. And then one more reminder that the teleport command is going to be a tick delay of 2. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and take a look at these two. These are also scoreboard test commands, but you'll see that this one here is going to check and see if that number becomes less than 1. So it's going to look to see if it's between negative 5 and 0. This one here is going to see if it's more than 4. It's going to check to see if it's between 5 and 9. Now, there's a reason I did this. In order to allow this to cycle through in a continuous circle, I needed to stop the number from going lower than 1. So when it gets to 0 or lower, I'm actually going to use a scoreboard set command to make it 4. So if I'm at position 1 and I take 1 away, it's going to put me to position 4. On the opposite side, if I'm at position 4 and I add, and it takes me to 5, instead, it's going to set it as 1. Because of that, I can literally take this and turn this in a complete circle over and over again without it ever stopping. And that's it. That's everything. I know it looks complicated, but when you break it down, it's actually pretty easy, and it's just slightly repetitive. The most important thing is just remember that the fill command blocks here are not delayed. The structure load command blocks here are delayed 1 tick. And then the teleport command blocks here are delayed 2 ticks. That way everything happens in sequence. It cleans the floor, it summons in the new build, and then it teleports you right into the proper spot, making you face the correct direction. Now, if you want to build your turret further away from your brain, or bury your brain like underground, or put it in a mountain or something like that so it can't be disturbed, that's actually fine. We can do a command to make sure that it's always working. It's a ticking, ticking area command, and we're going to add circle, and we're going to want to make sure that you're floating above your brain, okay? Wherever your brain is built that you want it to be, float above it, and we're going to put a few tildes in here. This means that we're going to add a ticking area where it's always loading the area. And we're going to make this 2 chunks wide. And I'm going to name this gun. Now, I already have one, but when you hit enter, it's going to let you know that it created a ticking area. And it's probably going to say that you have 1 out of 10 in use if this is a new world. If it's not, you may have others. I don't know. But this will make sure that your brain is always loaded so that no matter where you build your turret, it will work. If you liked this build, I have other redstone command block guns with lots and lots of boom boom. Go ahead and give them a click right here. I promise you, you will find them entertaining and educational. Alright everybody, peace out.